Try. This is probably cool kid.
The latency is low.
Is this frequency in use? Is this frequency in use? This is W4GOK. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by. Through a high-powered telescope like C10 or 20, a powerful space maintenance service. Long, say 50 to 100, which is the correct sunspot number. There are two official sunspot numbers in common use. The first, the daily Boulder sunspot number, is computed by the NO many years on. Will do. All the best, 7-3, K and 4K over Jacob H.
Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo.
Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Boy, another killer signal. Boy, what nice signal today. Come on in. What's the name of the location?
Yeah, the name here is Steve, and I'm in Sheffield, Alabama, up in the northwest corner of the state. You've got a very nice signal as well, a 5.9 signal into North Alabama. We're about 25 miles south of Tennessee and about 25 miles east of the Mississippi state line. And just one of those dreary days. It's 65 degrees. It's not cold, but it's wet. And it's a nice day to stay in the shack and play on the radio. So that's what I'm doing. Turn it back over to you. It looks like your name is Jane here on the database. M1PVT W4GOK.
Truly is, Stephen. Boy, it's great to hear you. You sound great. I just picked up another station in Alabama, too. So I'm really hitting that northern part of Alabama up through Tennessee, and that's great. You sounding wonderful. And, yeah, it was kind of gloomy here today. It wasn't raining. It was just gloomy, but the sun finally came out. Here it is, 2 o'clock or something, 2:30 my time. And, yeah, it came out time yesterday to have a sunset. But it's not cold here, 41 degrees. I mean, that's pretty warm for Massachusetts in the beginning of February. But we take what we get. Hope for the best. Any other calls for Steve?
Negative. I just heard you on there. I don't think I've ever checked into the YLNet before, and I was playing with my radio and my QRZ page, and putting a video feed of my station on it. And I was just looking around the bands there, and I heard you on there. You've got such a nice signal up here on the northern end of the 20-meter band. So I thought I would check in with you and give you a signal report, Jane. M1PVT W4GOK.
Great, Steve. I'm glad you did listen. I've been remiss. I haven't told you that the YL system has actually been on this frequency, truly on this frequency every day since 1963, where it's called the YL International Single Sideband System, founded by YL, so that's why it's the YL system, and we still have enough YL to count. But anyway, check out our website, ylsystem.org, and learn all about it. We have other systems on 40 meters, Monday through Friday, every day, and the different times, depending on what your timing is, if there's 80 meters. Anyway, and we're here on 20 meters, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. On major holidays, we're usually having limited times, and on weekends, we have limited times. But we're on every day. Over.
Yeah, I've heard you on before, and I'm very familiar with listening to it, and hear all the contacts and whatnot. Just for one reason or the other, I just never checked in, and I see that you've got a video here. I'm just looking at your site here, so start your video there. It's YouTube. Oh, there you go. Well, that looks really nice, and nice looking video lead in and all that sort of stuff. A good looking website there. I do a lot of web work, so very good. All right, Jane, N1PVT W4GOK.
It was so far away, Steve. I'd have to come up and fix my computer. Anyway, thanks a lot for being there. And if you hear anybody you want to call, just recheck, and one of us will pick you up. We're running with 4 or 5 controllers today, so there's plenty of us out here, okay?
Yeah, I'll do that, but I think I'm probably going to QSY and see what else is going on 20 meters. I've been on 40 meters most of the last couple of weeks because 20 meters has been so pitiful. So I'm going to look around a little bit, but nice making your acquaintance, Jane, and thanks a lot for picking me up. M1PVT W4GOK.
Sure, Steve. When you come back, you don't be a stranger, okay? And folks, that's W4GOK Golf Oscar Kilo, that's Steve down there in Alabama, also up in the northern part of the state. Well, apparently I have a pipeline. Any other people from northern Alabama or anywhere else, call November 1 Opposition Tango. Oh, southeastern Massachusetts, K1IA.
Kilo 33, November Charlie Sierra. If you want to say your call sign and go up the grass and see who else can hear you.
I just came over one car show, and he had his daughter with it, and we was talking to her and telling her that this is funny. It's a funny detail, and he was telling her about this car that I had, and so I got in a conversation and let those down in my car. Yes, 84 BFD or Bravo Mike Echo. This is KC9RF. And nice to meet you, Commodore.
this frequency in use? Is this frequency in use? This is W4GOK. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ, from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by. Charlie 1 Echo Uniform.
Is that Alpha Charlie 1 Echo Lima something? W4GOK.
Charlie 1 Echo Uniform.
Okay, give that to me phonetically if I could, please.
Charlie 1 Echo Uniform.
Got it. Alpha Charlie 1 Echo Uniform. QSL?
The name is Jeff.
Okay, Jeff, I'm having a little trouble with my database here. There we go. Okay. Up in Wiscasset, is that it? All right, very good. Let me get my beam. Well, I'm about 90 degrees to you there, so I'm going to have to turn it around just a little bit. The name here is Steve. I'm in Sheffield, Alabama. I want to get my beam turned around. I will I'll give you a signal report. AC1EU, W4GOK. Back to you, Jeff.
I'm in the state of Aid and putting my equipment out after a trip out to Arizona.
You say you're in Arizona? Yeah, well, I'm not copying you real well. I think you say you're operating remotely, but I've got it. I've got my being turned to what it says on QRZ. But if you're operating remotely, I'm probably in the wrong direction. AC1EU W4GOK.
So, basically, today, I did a and that's on a, like, 300.
All right, Jeff. The band conditions are not very good. I'm not copying you too well, so I'm gonna go ahead and say 73 to you, and wish you all the best. And we'll try to get under better band conditions. Thanks a lot, Jeff, for giving it a shot. I appreciate it. AC1 EU W4GOK. So long. Fox Radio Zulu station. Yeah, give me your call sign again, please. I'm sorry, old man. You're just not breaking through. I kicked in my preamps and everything, but QSB is pretty bad. So we'll try to get another time. But thanks for getting it the old college try. I appreciate it. W4GOK. You're so little. You're so little. Hey, Wally boy. You're just a little baby. You're just a little baby.
What's good, baby?
Yeah, Whiskey Bravo 2 India Victor November. Thanks for picking me up there. The name here is Steve. And, well, I've just pulled you up in the database. Looks like we've worked a number of times before. So nice to make your acquaintance again. Nice to see you on again there, Mike. Turn it back over to you. Let's see. The last time we talked was, just a couple of weeks ago, it looks like. WB2IBN, W4GOK. Yeah, WB2 IVN. Well, I hate to tell you, but we've got a 65 degrees here in North Alabama. So it's not too bad. Not too bad up here. It's rainy. It's rainy as all get out, but we're expecting some cooler weather in the next couple of days. But yesterday it got up to almost 70 degrees. We drove over to Decatur. We're up in the northwest corner of the state of Alabama, and we drove over to Decatur to try to get some photographs of the hooping cranes that winter over there at the Joe Wheeler National Wildlife Refuge. And it's just a matter of luck. It's such a big place, and there's so much water on the reserve that you sort of have to show up at the right time and have the whooping cranes cooperate with you. They are the birds that were flown down. They started the eastern route from up in the Minnesota, Wisconsin, or something like that. They were all flying down to the Port Aransas, Texas area. About 20 years ago, they started flying these baby birds down to reestablish the eastern route. You may have seen a movie made about it or something like that, where the guys dress up in white suits and fly ultralights, and they quit doing that a couple of years ago when they got there's about 90 birds that are now flying down to Florida. But they some of them stopped by here in winter here in North Alabama, and we were trying to find them because the weather was so nice. It was beautiful, just clear skies, maybe a little high clouds or something like that. But no birds. They didn't cooperate. They did not get the memo. So now today it's all rainy, so I'm sitting here in the shack. Turn it back over to you, Mike. WB2IVN, W4GOK. Yeah, I agree with you. The Blue Angels couldn't do any better. Yeah, they're really beautiful to watch. The difference between herons and cranes, you always know the difference between them if you're seeing them up in the sky. Herons tuck their their legs up underneath their body when they're flying, and cranes extend their legs out behind them straight. And you can tell the difference between sandhills and herons by the way they tuck their legs up. So just a little bit of a G2 there on the subject. And speaking of sandhills, whooping cranes will migrate with sandhills. If you're on the sandhill path, and probably from Colorado, you're probably on the route that takes them down to the Port Aransas National Wildlife Reserve down in the Gulf. So you're probably seeing that existing route. The whooping cranes and we do have a lot of sandhills that come down this route as well. But the eastern route for the whooping cranes was established. They started working on it about 25 years ago, and they did they took the young and started flying them down back to Florida. The whooping cranes were wiped out here 150 years ago by people who hunted them for their feathers. WB2IVN, W4GOK. WB2IVN. When our country was new, we had tons of bald eagles here in northwest Alabama. Well, of course, all over the state and throughout the east. But here in where we live right near the southern riverbank of the Tennessee River, when the Industrial Revolution hit, a whole lot of plants would industrial plants would open up along the river and, of course, just throw their wastewater and waste materials right into the river without any treatment. And they came up with, of course, you know, the DDT business and all that. And it was poisoning the birds. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to hit the mic kill switch. I had to cough. But when I was growing up here as a child, back in the 50s and the 60s, we had no bald eagles or if you saw a blue heron, it was very, very rare. And now bald eagles are pretty commonplace around here. And even so, we also have the big white pelicans that come down from the Great Lakes. And the white pelicans are much bigger than the gray pelicans that you see down around the Gulf and around Florida. Hey, I'm losing my voice. I'm going to have to sign with you, go get some water or something like that. I'll enjoy the conversation, but I'm going to have to stop before I choke myself to death. So I'm going to say 73 to you, and let's pick this up again next time, Mike. WB2IVN, W4GOK. 73, man. Thanks a lot, Mike. Nice talking to you. Thanks for your understanding. I'm going to go find me some water. WB2IV and W4GOK. 73, man. Oh.
You just put on me. I felt it.
What?
You put it on me.
Oh. Well, at least you didn't smell it.
What person that really is extra? Oh, Colorado. Colorado, baby. Let's see.
Just playing.
Take the garbage can out first.
Yeah. Why don't you bag up that thing, bag up the garbage, and I'll take it out.
Garbage is not full.
Well, it's full enough. It's got all her,
Just empty, honey.
it's got her nastiness in there from the.
Dale, John, empty it. All right. You're not going to wait so garbage bags are so expensive.
All right.
What you need to do is these boxes are taken care of for cleaning.
All right. I was thinking about doing it. I just thought we would empty what we had.
Yes, $3. Right.
You don't mind me being in here, do you? Huh? Just fall over there. Spend a couple minutes and then take care of you. Oh. Huh? I know exactly what you put. Oh.
I didn't put smiley face. I put
Okay, now I've got a couple more of you. I'm going to keep trying. One more time. Any other acceptance for the only pony area, please come down. Whiskey Oscar 4 Lima, I can speak up the line. See when you in. I would love to kick off your turn. November 4, Juliet Tango Echo. This is Kilo 1, Delta Delta November. How are you, Mr. Bob?
This one's for you. This one's for you. K1 Delta November. W4GOK. Kind of 5-7 if we got me, Amanda. 5-7, 57, 5-7. Over.
Yeah, you're on a 5 and 5, 5 and 5. Take your call.
You say it on 50 numbers all on my answer.
Oh, you just got on the mic. What was that? 5, 5, 55, 55. See you in a minute.
Oh, I got it. 55, 55. Good to hear what, Amanda. Thank you for that. Let me get a appreciate it. Oh, I'm good. I'll try a second. I'm with it. Oh, that's a good frequency out here. Hey, Larry, can you do it?
That's cat.
Just to know, thanks for calling.
Are you vaccinated, Bob? Okay, he's vaccinated. Vaccinated. Roger that. Whiskey 2 Delta Juliet Golf. This is Kilo 1 Delta Delta November. You're up for 2, sir. My copy to 5 and 9. You're 5, 9, and a whole bunch more. See you.
Whiskey Lima, that's the next break.
Copy that feed to think and keep vaccinated. Roger, this is T1DDN looking for last call for late check-in. Please come now. With that import DTE for a last call. I also see on the screen Whiskey 6 November Charlie Bravo wants the last call. Any other last call?
W4GOK. Is this
W4GOK. Are you on the list, sir?
What was that question again? This is W4GOK. What was that question, Amanda?
The list. Were you on the list, or are you trying to get on the list? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just tuning around. I saw your really strong signal. As I live my life, I probably don't know what's going on. So if I'm interfering in a net or something, I'll back out.
But you know what? Nobody really interferes. Don't worry about it. My name is Amanda. It's all financed K1DDN. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my personal log here 5 and 9, okay?
Okay, super. We worked about 5 years ago, as a matter of fact, on 40 meters. So it's nice to make your acquaintance again. I see all your pictures. Looks like you've done some webcasts or TV or something like that.
I'm on a pretty popular ham radio show called Ham Nation, and I hope you can check it out sometime. We're on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I usually transmit live video from the shack too when I'm doing it. I'm kind of into video myself, but not high end like you guys. All right, Amanda, I got you in the log, and thank you very much for letting me break in. K1DDN W4GOK.
So you have a wonderful day. All right, I think I got them all there, Bob. I'll send it back to you. K1DDN.
Service 156 November Charlie Bravo. I'm going to go to line 57, November 4, Juliet Tango Echo, any copy on W6 field. The 5-9. Yeah, you have a great sound in the station. I really accepted before the close of that. Appreciate it. 5-9 both ways. W6 NV back. That.
Who are you talking ugly to? Who are you talking ugly to?
I'm talking ugly to you. I see you. Don't look at me. I see you.
Are you looking at me?
Yeah.
Oh, I see that you've. I've got two visitors on the site. One would be me, and the other one would be you.
Whiskey 9 Alpha Delta Whiskey. Okay, solid 5-9, beautiful property. And he's there, and don't call with Whiskey 0 Indian Whiskey, gentlemen. I'm just saying, he's about 9 bucks here. Are there any maritime mobile supply service personnel on station over? Possibly. Do I have any relays on Maritime Mobile to flight service personnel or stations with traffic? Over. Nothing heard. This is Kilo Zero, Bravo Oscar Tango relay station for the Maritime Mobile Service Network. I'll take general check-ins from anyone not hearing net control. Over.
You're absolutely welcome, Bob. Anytime I'm around, I'd be more than happy to help, and I'm glad we made this network. I don't know how it would have worked without the two of us. So 73, and have a good one. With you after 4 Lima, Cuba 1 Delta Delta November.
This is W4GOK. Is this frequency clear now?
It's all yours, sir.
Well, I was here and figured I'd call CQ if nobody else was using it, if your net's closed.
Roger, Bob. Roger, but we just closed up, so you're good to go. Came in.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Amanda. It's nice talking to you again.
You too. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name.
Oh, it's Steve. I'm W4GOK. I just talked to you a few minutes ago.
I have soft only Steve's on the list. I couldn't keep it straight. It was either Steve or Tim I was going to call you, and it could have been the wrong one. Hi.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. I looked up, by the way, I did look up Last Man Standing there and got some information on you. So you're famous. So I like that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was invited to operate from Last Man Standing set. The radio show that we do weekly is Ham Nation. It has Bob Heil and Gordon West and some other very popular hosts. So we do it every Wednesday. And actually, tomorrow night we're doing Ladies Night. So it's all lady hams running the show. Over.
Okay, well, I've seen that webcast quite a bit. I've spent my whole life in video and television and stuff like that, and I enjoy watching those kind of things. So I haven't, honestly, I haven't really looked at it in the last months and months, but that's a very popular show, and it looks like it's got a pretty good viewership.
Oh, absolutely. We have a lot of fun doing it, and again, it's all the content that we which makes it the best. So, but I know there's a lot of podcasts out there and stuff, and they all bring great content to their shows. So we're just one of a handful.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. I think I like to say I'm kind of a media kind of guy. I like to say I have a live webcam here in my shack, so I broadcast to myself.
Very good. Well, Steve, it was really nice to meet you, and I'm going to let you call CQ. I got to step away amongst some puppy dogs outside, and only on here because we had a snow day. So we'll see 73. Really great chatting with you.
Yeah, nice chatting with you too. Yeah, well, it's 66 degrees here, kind of rainy, but it's warm. So have a great day, Amanda. Nice talking to you again, and thank you for your courtesy when I just broke in on that net there. K1DD and W4GOK.
Not a problem, sir. Not a problem. You have a good one. W4GOK, this is K1DD and 73.
All right. If there's nobody else using it, I'll call CQ on this frequency. This is W4GOK in Alabama calling CQ. Anyone around? Is that Kilo Delta 7 or Kilo 7 Delta Alpha? Was that it? Kilo 7 Delta Alpha, W4GOK. Okay, give me your call one more time. I think I have it incorrect then. Is it Kilo 7 Delta Delta Alpha? I'm sorry, oh man, you're just down in the mud, and 20 meters isn't working for us today. Well, let's try it again sometime when conditions are better. But thank you very much for trying to reach out to me. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. W4GOK.
Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by.
Zulu India Charlie station.
Kilo Charlie 0, Zulu India Charlie.
Kilo Charlie 0, Zulu India Charlie. Thank you very much for returning my call. My name is Steve, and I'm in Sheffield, Alabama. And man, I already got my beam turned right to you there, so that's pretty good. You're about a 5.5 into North Alabama. As we all know, band conditions are not the best in the world. So that's just kind of the way it goes there. But looks like your name is Ray, and I don't think we've worked before. So thank you very much for returning the call. I'll turn it back over to you. Kilo Charlie 0, Zulu India Charlie, W4GOK.
Kilo Charlie 0, Zulu India Charlie, back to Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. I don't think we've worked. No, I'm in Colorado, as you probably saw. We had so earlier here, I think it's trying to kind of break up, and I think we ended up at about 3-4 inches on the ground, and it's trying to melt out. You know how that is here in Colorado. You got one day that's hard to believe that 74 degrees here, and all of a sudden it's 10 degrees here this morning. I get to about 5, 6, 5, 7 at times here, and my antenna is about 6 foot off the ground. It's I haven't got it up on the tower yet, so I've been kind of dragging feet. You know how that goes. Back to Kilo Charlie 0, Zulu India Charlie with Whiskey 4, Golf Oscar Kilo.
Yeah, these antennas, they usually work a little bit better when they're higher than 6 feet off the ground, but considering everything that you've got going on there, I think you're doing pretty well there. I presume you're running 100 watts. Is that correct, right?
Well, I just turned it on. We're about 1,100, 1,200 watts.
Oh, okay. Well, you're doing then. Okay, then you're doing real good, but you've got some horsepower behind you, so that makes a big difference. That's very good. The station sounds good. Your audio sounds real good. I was looking at your. Do you follow QRZ? Are you on QRZ.com? Back to you.
Yes, I'm on QRZ. I haven't put a picture. Excuse me, nothing else up there. All the first shows that the normal.
Yeah, I see your stuff here. It looks like well, let's see. You're not that new of a ham. I got my ticket back in 1973, but I didn't really get started again until about the time you got your ticket. So I presume that was the first date of your ticket. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I've got on my QRZ page right now. I've got my video running of the shack. If you would be interested. So when did you get your ticket? KC0ZIC W4GOK.
Well, I'm 73. I don't remember a whole lot, but I got my license here. I guess I could look on it and see what the actual date is.
Because QRZ says it was effective in 2016, but that could have been a renewal date.
Yeah, that was renewal. I guess it shows this granted on two of those. So 2007, I graduated up to the general, and prior to that, I was had a tech license. I didn't like the 2 meter stuff, so I keep telling myself I'm change and really hobby.
Yeah, there's somebody tuning up about 2 kilohertz above us there. I had to try to notch them out there. Okay, well, very good. Yeah, I think today I would probably work beyond my tech as well. When I got my ticket in '73, tech wasn't available. I don't think. I think it may have been, but I'm not sure. I think it was novice, general, advanced, and extra class, and I got my advanced by about 1975 or 76, and kept it active all these years, even though I wasn't active in ham radio. And I got started again back in the October 31st, 2014, when I got the radio from UPS, and I stuck my antenna up. The base of the antenna was 8 feet off the ground too. It was a multi-band vertical. So I like you. I just you build your station as you go along. So I finally got a tower put up and got a hex beam on it, and I also have a G5RV mini dipole when I want to work 40 meters there. KC0ZIC W4GOK. By the way, you've got really nice sounding audio from your station.
Kilo Charlie 0 Zulu India Charlie back 2. Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Thanks on the audio. You sound real good here. The quality is great. I'm fine transmitting to you off of a Kenwood, an older Kenwood. It's TS950S digital, and of course the amp is the TL922A linear, and the antenna is it is 400, and then I put the but I had some setbacks. I had to go through some cancer surgery, had 2 back surgeries, so I'm kind of good. I must be getting the antenna up. I've got the base and everything in, and I bought an aluminum crank up tower, and just too many irons in the fire. You know how that goes. I get into the hot rod deal, so I've got all the hot rod cars, and I fly the model aircraft, helicopters, and fixed wing gliders. So I don't do as much on one as what I'd like to do, but probably I would just set back and pick one and say that's going to be it for the rest of them. So the bye-bye, you know. But I don't. But hopefully we'll get it up there this summer and maybe be able to do it what we're doing here. You know, turning zeros, then we'll be turning back to there, too.
Yeah, Kilo Charlie Zero Zulu India Charlie W4GOK. Well, that sounds really great. And I'm 70. I turned 70 a couple of weeks ago and hated it. But then again, my wife reminded me, well, I could be on the other side of the grass. So I'm just gonna we're gonna make it work, right? That's all we're gonna do. And you know, it's hey, listen, getting old is not for the faint of heart. So yeah, we've all had our surgeries and foot problems and stuff like that, but just staying there, keep plugging away every day. I had an RC model airplane way back in the day, and the only thing I could do with it was crash it, so I got out of that pretty quick and stayed with ham radio, and finally I did get my regular pilot's license. I flew for many years, and although I haven't flown the last couple of decades, but ham radio seems to have stuck with me this time. A lot of people that get their license, particularly like when I got mine back in '73, they get in the hobby for a few years, and they back off for a few years and get back in. And like I say, I managed to keep my advanced class ticket all those years. I kept it renewed, stayed busy with it. And when I got active again in the end of 2014, I studied up and went ahead and got my extra in the summer of 2015. And so I guess I'll probably stick with the hobby. I'm really enjoying it now, and I'm enjoying all the new tech and being able to, like I say, I'm running video on my site right now on QRZ. You can see my station and all that sort of stuff. So I do like integrating all the new technology. KC0ZIC W4GOK.
W4GOK, KC0ZIC. You say you just turned 70 here a few days ago. I did mine first of the last month. So, yeah, I think perhaps he's working against it. I don't know. Perhaps he's just needs to be doing most of it. 6 days go by, you know. But now the hobbies, I kind of got with the ham radio stuff. I kind of got into the star. I don't know if he explained that or know anything about it. But a friend of me, and my guy's just unbelievable. I mean, I thought everybody had talked to, it's the best quality possible. Once in a while, some of them will fade through their internet programs, but it's amazing. With the handheld radio, I bought it. I had a little fast handheld, and so I bought it. Anyway, with the D-Star D74A, I think it is, and it's a great radio. They got famous D-Star, and I don't know if you can call it ham radio, because you just go on whichever reflector, and like that, they're right there. Nothing to touch South Korea, the Ukraine, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But we've been playing with that for a while, and but we kind of got time comes, we'll play with the cars, go to all the hot rod swap meets and car shows and whatever, and besides that, we do some camping, take the boat, do fishing. So
one thing about it, we don't get bored and we got plenty to do. So it around you get lazy and fatter. You know how that goes. Team, I'll send it back to you. W4GOK, KC0ZIC.
Yeah, KC0ZIC, Whiskey 4, God Only Knows, in Sheffield, Alabama. Well, yeah, it's you can either sit in the chair and do that, or stay active. My wife and I, we do a lot of photography. We go out and take pictures. We also have a commercial website. It's like a newspaper of the internet. It's called quadcitiesdaily.com. So we stay pretty busy with that. And I feel that, you know, it's just you stay active and keep your mind going. You know, just go until you flame out. just go till you flame out, and stay with it as best you can. You sound like you're doing pretty good, and like I say, we all have these little bit of, you know, kind of health problems that happen over time, but try to take care of them as they come along. And in this last year, I've lost about 45 pounds, and to be perfectly honest with you, Ray, I feel better than I have in the last 20 years or so. So I'm looking forward to my 70s. I'm gonna keep going. The equipment here starts out with a Shure Super 55 dynamic microphone and a FTDX 1200. I also have external HD SDR software that shows me the band. It's got a waterfall and spectrum display, and I run the station with Ham Radio Deluxe, so it's all computer controlled and all that business. My amplifier is an AL811H amp, Meritron, and like I say, I have a hex beam up at about, the base of the hex beam is about 45 feet, something like that. And I'm pretty satisfied with the way the station's built. It's just taking me a little bit of time to get it all together. This crap ain't cheap. KC0ZIC from Whiskey 4, God Only Knows.
Here, and you know, that's from when I first got into it. And then, well, back then I was working also, so that makes a big difference when you're retired and you throw all this money away thinking you're going to live fast. You know, it's amazing how far it doesn't go anymore. And we live on 8th Street, so I keep my hands full keeping this place up and between mowing grass and keep the weeds knocked down around fence line and, you know, whatever. But it's all seems to take a big leap, even in the hot rod end of it, the street rod end of it, like that. You just really got to watch. Otherwise, you can get carried away and really go rapid on it. But we got pretty much everything we want, and I don't know. I don't think that's one thing that's right. You know, you got a long way to go. Now we have good times, and I've got a big 40 by 60 garage with 16 high ceilings here, and you got to throw these stuff in the lower walkout part of the house. And I come out here, and I've got the one room that I got to go. I got a telescope. Cat that hangs out in here, kind of straight in, and the dark cat talks about as much as the wife does anymore. It seems like we come out here and they just talk to their death. But I come out here and they want to be a part of the program. So between that and I light it out in the kitchen rod. Boy, God forbid you lay down to it. He's right there, right on top of it. He wants to be part of the program. So it says that somebody turned the move. I think he got rid of it because he didn't really know when he would fight. I mean, he said long legs and long feet to go get with it. After after boxing his ears a few times and telling him no, he got to, you know, he had to put, we got moved out, QC up, and he's my shadow, he follows me everywhere. So we do the camper, the boat camper deal, and I'm not much on trailer parks, so we don't stay, you know, in the park area. We go do our thing with the boat, and pull the boat out of the water, and usually just stay right there on the boat ramp or somewhere in that parking area. And but it's a great hobby with the ham radio, and I've got radio in the truck, both my truck, and oh gosh, see what the heck the antenna is. It's one of the cardio. There you go. It's one of the cardio antennas, and so it'll do about all the frequencies. The other one I've got that HAS antenna that ICOM put out with one of their radios. So we pretty much got what we want. I mean, it'll do what we need to do, and we've talked to some far off places and never thought we could ever reach. We've talked to a lot of guys in aircraft. So I do have a ICOM 756-3. We've got that. They got the amplifier for the old Kenwood, so we run off. But it's a great hobby. My uncle was into it way back when I was years old. He was a station for RCA, and he had one of the first RCA color TVs when they first came out. And I thought, boy, that's great. First picture I saw was a picture of Lassie in when the dog opened its mouth. So that thing was so bright. Before I, got to the point I was doing it. And then
All right, Ray. Looks like USB set in pretty seriously. I don't know if you're still copying me, but you kind of faded away. Are you still there? Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you in there in the background, but I'm not making anything out. I'm gonna go ahead and say 73, and band conditions just kind of took a dive on us. So 73, my friend, and let's do it again sometime. It was an enjoyable QSO. 73, Ray, KC0ZSC W4GOK. I hear you in there, old man, but I cannot make you out. You're unreadable. Thanks a lot for the try, though. Looks like the band's just not doing well today. Thanks a lot.
Hello, CQ. Hello, CQ. Hello, CQ. from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Hello CQ, hello CQ, hello CQ from Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Listening and standing by.
Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo. Whiskey 4 Golf Oscar Kilo.
Kilo 7 Alpha Delta Oscar W4GOK. Thank you very much for returning my call there. I'm going to beam down a little bit. I'm still pretty close to you there. Yeah, you've got a fairly decent signal into North Alabama. The name here is Steve, and you've got about a 5.5 signal into North Alabama. Looks like your name is Stephen too, and you can spell it the same way I do. So good on both of us. K7ADO W4GOK.
Very good, Stephen. Yeah, I pumped up the power a little. Steve, that'll put me up around 5.7 or so. You're about 5.7 here into Glendale, Arizona. And that's about 20 miles northwest of downtown Phoenix. Beautiful, sunny day today. However, for Phoenix, it's a little bit chilly. Breeze last night, which is very odd for us. We only get 2 or 3 of them a year, and that was our first one. So went outside to see if our desert flora has burned back, and I think my plants made it through the evening okay. Over.
Well, that's a good thing. Whenever your plants can make it through, we've got my banana trees are trying to poke their head out of the muck, and they got their heads frozen off a couple of weeks ago. So we've had kind of one of those weird winters. It hasn't been too terribly cold, except for just enough really cold weather to keep the vegetation back a little bit. But before it got cold, we cut our banana trees down to the ground and covered them with the leaves and mulch and all that sort of stuff. So they'll be back. They're trying to come back, but we're probably another 6 weeks away, something like that. Although it's not really cold today, it's rainy, but it's 66 degrees here in North Alabama. So it's been fairly a mild winter overall. Like I say, we've got some pretty cold days, but not terribly bad. I go by Steve, and do you go by Stephen or Steve or something else? K7ADO W4GOK.
Pretty much the only person that calls me Stephen was my mother, and so I go by Steve. Yeah, years ago, when I moved to Phoenix, we covered our plants. And I had a neighbor that said, you know what, I'm just going to let them burn back, and they always come back. So I've given up, except on maybe 3 or 4 plants that are kind of special. You know, we pretty much let them go to the winter. And if they burn off, then we either replace them or we'll come back. My yard about 10, and I literally cut them to the ground, and a month later they're all back again.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what we do. We've got our backyard is we live on a small in-town lot, and I've kind of got my beam and my hex beam and my tower kind of nestled into the one place I can put it where it doesn't encroach over the property line, you know. And I've got a G5RV antenna swung between the tree out on the street, the tree out by the alley back there. And the antenna system seems to work really well. I've worked all over the world on both the G5RV and on the beam antenna, the hex beam. So it seems to work pretty well. I even worked the Amundsen Scott base at the South Pole on 40 meters on the dipole, if you can believe that. So the antenna system seemed to work pretty well. Got no complaints with that, Steve. I was looking at your pictures on QRZ. Looks like you've been doing this for a while. I got my ticket back in 1973. So I see your old Heathkit and all that sort of stuff. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. In terms of the plants, like I say, we let them kill back a little bit, and then after they've all died from the cold weather, or actually they've gone to sleep, we'll go out, we'll trim everything back and get it all cut. Have fresh. Give everything a fresh start in the springtime, and it seems to work pretty nicely. Our backyard we have covered with that anti-vegetation mat, like the farmers use. We've got it down, and then we've got pea gravel, that quartz pea gravel on top of it around our koi pond. And so the maintenance in the backyard is pretty low. All of our plant materials are in pots with drip irrigation. And of course, being out in Arizona, you know all about drip irrigation, I'm sure. But it's kind of a nice backyard, but relatively, and I say relatively, but relatively low maintenance. So that's kind of the way we do it. But yeah, right now everything's looking pretty sad. Although I do have a couple of daffodils in the backyard. They're harbingers of spring, and I always love seeing daffodils come up. K780 W4GOK.
Well, Steve, you can be proud of your backyard. I'm looking at the pictures of it. It's really pretty. Are those purple hanging plants on the fence, are those lilacs? They look really, really pretty. Also, I'm wondering if your koi make it through the winter underneath the ice.
Oh yeah, they do fine. They slow down quite a bit. They don't really move too much because the oxygen level gets so low, or excuse me, the water temperature is so cold, and being cold-blooded and whatnot, they'll move through the water, but you really have to kind of take a look at them. They almost look like they're in some kind of stasis kind of state, but no, they do just fine. And there have been winters when we've had 3 or 4 inches of ice on the pond, and you will not be able to see them move at all, but you'll look back about 10 minutes later and you'll see that they've gone a foot or so. But we've had some pretty good bit of ice on the pond, and we've never lost a fish due to cold weather. So they just kind of go to sleep mostly for the winter time, and come back busy. Right now it's been warm. They're hungry. They follow you around as you walk by the pond. You'll have this whole group of koi following you, waiting for you to throw them out some fish food. We've got a pretty well trained, or either they've got us trained, but it could be like a horror movie. If you walk by the pond, you see all the fish following you. Particularly if they were piranha and not koi. K7, are you looking at my video? K780 W4GOK.
Yeah, W4GOK. This is K780. Actually, I didn't know that you had a video there. Let me go down here. I know I was just looking at your pictures on. I didn't know. Oh, I see you do have a video there. Well, I don't want to confuse my QSO here. I'll watch it after I get off. Very nice. Our yard is pond in Arizona. It just gets too hot in the summer, and I think it would just be too hard to keep algae from growing. We do have a pool, which I don't have to do much to it in the winter. It goes through chlorine tabs about 8 a week in the summertime, but in the winter I can do about 2 tablets every 2 weeks, and it seems to be just fine. But you really have to stay on top of it. Or if you have a storm come through and it blows mustard algae or green algae spores in, you got to really work to keep it from creating a problem. And I think in a pond, that may be a problem. I think people who make kind of a hobby and a career out of it here in Arizona
try to use natural, how I want to say, natural methods, you know, to keep it, I don't know how that would do. You probably know better than me on that. But anyway, it looks like fun, but it also looks like lots of work. I'm assuming that you put that in yourself. Back to you.
Yeah, but the video's right up at the top of the page here. It's a live feed for
yourself. Back to you.
Yeah, but the video's right up at the top of the page here. It's a live feed from the shack. So if you scroll all the way up, you'll see a video you can click on too. And see me sitting here with one cat in my lap and one cat on the linear. So it's right up at the top of the page here. Just click on it, and it's a live video from the shack. In terms of the pond, yeah, I've put that pond in probably 15, 16 years ago, but about 4 years ago we had it completely redone by a professional. And what we did is I've got a 9,500 gallon per hour water filtration system on the pond with you've heard of those natural swimming pools, and that's what this filter does. Is it takes all of the particulate matter out of the water, and we do not have to put any chemicals whatsoever into the pond. In the summertime, about every 5 days, you just pull the filters out and hose them down, and you know, keep all the muck out of the pond, and the water gets crystal clear. And the waterfall is about 7 feet tall, and as the water runs down the waterfall, it completely aerates the water, so there's lots of oxygen in the pond, but no chemicals. It's all natural. It's just got one hell of a big water pump and a lot of filtration in it. K780 W4GOK.
Very good, Steve. You do a nice job at it. And yes, I am watching your live stream now. There is a little bit of a delay there, but I'm curious to know how you do that. And this means you get into your shack in your underwear. You got to be dressed up over.
Well, I don't care about that. I've never cared too much about that. Well, on your what you do is you use your YouTube account, and YouTube, you know, now allows you to go live, and you go into YouTube Studio, and I just have a one of those little Logitech cameras sitting on top of there right there, so you can't see it, but you can see my finger. You get the code from YouTube, and you just edit it into your QRZ page, and it puts an iframe up there, and you just click on it, and it's all pretty much automatic. It works pretty good, and sure, there's a little bit of latency in there, but it's kind of fun to do, and people get to see my shack, and they get to see my cats here. Let me lean back a little bit, and that's Weasel on top of the linear there, and this is Wally in my lap here, and they're kind of my shack partners. They like coming in and playing on the radio too. And when we play our stereo up in the living room, at least Wally, he always comes up and listens. He's into classical music. And right now he's starting to fight with Weasel to get up on top of the warm linear. So we could have a cat fight going on pretty soon. I don't know. K780 W4GOK. I was just going to say, I'll bet they'd love it up on top of that linear. Nice and warm. You're the first one I've seen that has a live feed like that. That's really pretty cool. Yeah, I see the cat. So, yeah, this is very good. So you must be up at an elevation there to have a pond freeze over. We're here about 600 feet, and as you know, we're in the Sonora Desert, and we might get a dusting of snow every 4 or 5 years, but it hardly ever sticks more than just a few minutes on the ground. So, yeah, much for that. Okay, well, let me turn it back to you. Yeah, no, our elevation's about the same as yours. Our we're about 560 feet MSL, something like that. But it's just that we're in the deep south. We're pretty much due east and west of one another. And our location is basically the humidity factor. You have such low humidity, but we generally don't have very harsh winters. We will every 8 or 10 years or something like that. It'll get cold and it'll stay cold for a month or so. But I would say that this year we have probably had, since the end of October, probably 8 or 9 days where it didn't get above freezing, something like that. Most of the time, the temperature at this time of year hangs about in the 50s to something like that. Now in the summertime, it gets hot as Hades here. It'll be in the 90s quite a bit, and unlike being in the Sonoran Desert, when you've got the temperature in the 90s and the humidity in the 70s, it'll really take it out of you, man. It'll take it out of you. And I do like the conversations with people saying, well, it gets hot out here in the desert, but it's dry heat. Yeah, listen, 120 degrees is 120 degrees. And when you go down to like Las Vegas or places like that, yeah, it's hot. There's no doubt about it. It gets hot, but we usually manage pretty well. We've got a lot of shade in our backyard, and we have a couple of outdoor oscillating fans, and we'll sit on the deck and look at the court, or we'll sit in the shade by the fence back there, and it's actually pretty comfortable. If you can get out of the direct sunlight, you're doing pretty good, so it works pretty good. But in terms of the live video feed, it's really pretty simple to put it on. When you go into your you've got to you go to YouTube and you set up a live channel. It takes 24 hours for them to get you all configured and everything like that. And when you get ready to set up your video feed, they'll give you a link to it. Then you go over to QRZ. You'll go into edit your page there. You'll delete the old iframe, and you'll go up and click on the YouTube icon, and it'll give you an address, a place to put in your address, and you do that and save it, and you're on the air. It took me about 35-40 minutes to figure it out. So if I can do it like that, anybody else can probably do it. It's fairly simple. And like I say, I just run the camera right off of a USB connection. Now I do have 2 computers here in the shack. The one computer, let me see if there's some latency, but let me move this. That shows you the computer that operates the station here. It's just a cheap little Hewlett-Packard computer, because you don't really need that real high-end computer to operate just these audio and run the station. But the other computer that is here is a workstation class. It's got an Intel i5 processor on it, and we do a lot of video and a lot of photo work and stuff like that. So I do have a workstation class computer, and so I'm not trying to. I don't have to put too much overhead on the Hewlett-Packard that's running the station. I run the YouTube video feed off of the workstation, and it makes for a pretty seamless effort. Like I say, there's not a lot of headroom on this old Hewlett-Packard here. But the workstation computer's got headroom galore. It's got more headroom than I ever need. So it runs video just great. K780 W4GOK.
Okay, W4GOK, this is K780. Well, Stephen, that's very interesting and been very informative. It's made me think, even if I don't do a live stream, I may post, maybe just do a 360 video in my shack here, just to give people a sense of who they're talking to here. but nevertheless, I'm surprised that the 20-meter band has supported us today because it's been a little bit up and down. Otherwise, I don't see more than about 4 stations on my waterfall right now. So, okay, Steve, thank you very much. W4GOK, this is K7ADO, and I will be clear on this QSO on your final.
All right, Steve. Well, yeah, nice talking to you. Yeah, this is more like kind of a QSO you get on 40 meters, where you spend a little bit of time, and that makes it nice. I do enjoy having a conversation with interesting people, and this has certainly been an interesting conversation. So nice talking to you. And yeah, 20 meters is just kind of weird. I've been on 40 mostly for the last couple of months, but I decided I'd flip up to 20 meters and give the old hex beam up, you know, kind of blow out the cobwebs and make sure it was still working. And it seems to be a little 20 meters today, which makes it nice. But chances are I'll be going back to 40 before too long. Hey, have a great day and enjoyable, very enjoyable QSO, and I look forward to working with you again. Play with that video feed. You might find it a lot of fun. K7ADO 73 from W4GOK.
Be safe. Take care.
And W4GOK is clear in QRT.